Shelley Rae here, and welcome to the first episode of Guns 101. I'm trying to become your one-stop shop for someone who maybe doesn't know too much about the firearms industry and wants to get to know it a little bit better. Today, I'm going to go over some basic gun handling and the 4 basic rules of gun safety. So this is the stuff you need to know before you walk into the gun range for the first time. In order to help me, I have with me my customized M&P 9. No, you can't walk into a gun store and find a snakeskin one. This one's mine. So the first thing you do whenever you pick up a firearm is lock the slide to the rear. So for a semi-automatic pistol like this one, that means I'm going to grab the slide back here. You'll notice that I'm behind this part here, which is called the barrel hood. And I'm just going to use my strong hand here, my right hand in my case, to push forward. If there's an empty magazine in the chamber, this is a magazine, not a clip, magazine. If there's an empty mag in the chamber, it'll lock straight to the rear unless it's a cheap firearm. If it doesn't lock to the rear, that either means it's loaded and you have a problem, or there's no magazine in it. Now, if you do that and a round doesn't come flying out, that means there's no magazine in. So what you want to do is, same thing, push forward, but you're going to push up on this little part here, which is called the slide lock, slide release. Usually slide lock. People don't like the term slide release. So, pull back, push up at the same time. You'll see that it locks in this little notch in the slide here, and that's what's holds your slide to the rear. Now, when that's done, I can look inside, see that it's unloaded, and I'm good to go. So, this is going to lead me into the 4 basic rules of gun safety. They're something that you have to keep in mind at all times when you're handling firearms, wherever you are, whenever it is. Alright, the first rule of gun safety is that all guns are always loaded. Now, you can look at me and look at this and say that gun's not loaded. And okay, it's not. But if someone had just handed this to me, like this, first thing I would have done is lock that slide to the rear, looked inside, and made sure for myself. If I just picked it up off the gun range counter, lock the slide to the rear, look inside, check for myself. You should never assume a gun's unloaded. The second rule of firearms safety is to never point your gun at something you're not willing to destroy. So, for example, right now, my gun is pointed that direction because there's a sliding glass door with a big empty lake behind it in that direction. Now, I don't really feel like shooting my glass door, but if I'm going to shoot anything in my apartment, I would like it to be that glass door and out into that lake. Still going to get me in trouble, not going to hurt anybody. Now, this is important at all times. So you kind of have to think about your gun as having like an endless laser beam coming out of it. It's like an infinite lightsaber, only it shoots bullets. So, you know, whatever you're pointing at, it's going to burn that, it's going to hurt that, it's going to injure that. And since all guns are always loaded, it doesn't matter if you're going to sit here and tell me it's unloaded, you're not going to point it at something you're not willing to destroy. Okay? Okay. Now you notice this whole time I'm sitting here babbling at you. I've got my finger indexed above the trigger guard, and this is the trigger guard. That ties into rule number 3, which is always keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. So, you see me pick up a gun, go up to the gun, grab it with my full firing grip with my finger indexed above the trigger guard. And you'll see some people who have bigger hands than me who will put their finger in front of the trigger guard, and that's no good. First of all, I'm used to it from competition. If you do that, you can't tell that the trigger guard is open. So it's just a good habit. Plus, I mean, it's so easy for your finger to slip off of there, and then you're on the trigger guard, and you're pulling the trigger, and bad things could be happening. So, finger indexed above trigger guard until you are sighted in, on target, and you're purposefully pulling that trigger. That needs to be a very purposeful motion. The fourth rule is to always be aware of your target and what's beyond it. And I'm a little biased toward this rule. I used to work at a range, and I would see people all the time. They'd come in, they'd put their target out at like 3 yards and start doing headshots on it, and they'd be shooting the ceiling behind their target because paper doesn't stop bullets. And obviously it's important in defensive situations, obviously it's important in competition, it's important in everything. Even when you're at the range and the range with plinking, think about it. Make sure you're not hitting the floor, the ceiling, the poles, the walls. You know, anger range masters aren't fun to deal with. I used to be one of them. So that's the 4 rules of gun safety and some really basic gun handling. And trying to keep these episodes short, so look for some more upcoming ones on, you know, the basic parts of a pistol, rifle, revolver, shotgun, the different kinds of pistols, rifles, revolvers, shotguns, the basics of it looking in an ammo box, because, I mean, it took me a long time to figure that out. Didn't know what I was doing. So just, you know, some of the basic range stuff that you should know before you should head out. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me, and I'll see you again. Maybe. Hopefully. I can be like Jenna Marbles, but I have a cat. Did you just bite me? You're such a